And welcome back to the Surplus Boys channel. Nick here in a Colt garage, here to bring you a little bit of info on working on black powder cap and ball revolvers. So I have a reproduction Colt Dragoon here, and this one has a very specific problem that does happen pretty frequently on these guys. So if you notice my cylinder here, if I tip her down, cylinder rotates. Well, if I tip her up, cylinder does not rotate. So that is a very common problem, and it is something to do with the cylinder hand not actuating the actual cylinder at a certain angle. So let's bring you over to the table and show you what's actually happening to this thing. So now that I have the gun here on the table, pretty much I need to take apart the entire gun, the barrel, the cylinder, all the lockwork assembly needs to come out, because the hand is one of the last things that comes out of the gun, and it comes out with the hammer. So I'm pretty much going to skip ahead. We have a video somewhere here, blah, 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 that will show you how to take this apart. I'm just going to, by the power of magic of editing, have this gun like this and have it completely apart. Ooh. All right, so skipping ahead here. The reason why we're having this issue with the cylinder not spinning a certain way when you're holding the gun is that my handspring broke. So there's usually a little tiny spring that hangs off of that pushes up against the inside of the frame to help push that forward. So there's one thing I want to show you as well while I have this apart, is that there are different hammers for these. So it depends on who makes your, Walker or, Dragoon or whatever. These hands will have different pieces. So to show you, so that is my Dragoon hammer. This is my Walker hammer. So the hammers themselves look almost identical, pretty much. The main difference, though, is that these two holes are different sizes, and that the Dragoon hammer is going to have this roller instead of just a flat surface for the spring to hang on. So these two are different, actually, and to show you, these hands are different as well. You see how this one is obviously chunkier, and that the pins are different sizes. This has a step down, this does not. So when you're ordering parts and whatnot, be careful of what you get, because you might order a hammer or a hand or a hammer expecting it to fit, but it might have a smaller hole or a bigger hole. I'm not 100% sure if just over the years they changed. This is probably an older style, because the Dragoon we have here is, I think it was made in the 80s. So that was when U-Birdie was making it differently. Maybe they changed it to this, and this is just the standard now. I'm not 100% sure. But the springs will be different as well. The spring on this would actually be way chunkier and a much bigger piece of spring steel. These ones are really tiny and thin. Now there is a way to possibly use a piece of wire as spring steel. I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to replace this messed up spring. So, but yeah, just to show you that they are different. So be careful with what you're buying and where you're ordering from. Just pay attention to that. You never know. Take your gun apart first before really just making a guess. Oh yeah, that's the problem. So, all right, that's that. So put that out of the way. And let me make some space here, and then I can pop this sucker out and put a new one in. All right, now with everything out of the way and everything taken apart, this is my problem. So the spring broke, quite common. So pretty much most people will have a way to kind of push it out with the new spring. But how this was put in place, it's actually pushed in on both ends. So I actually got to pull this thing out. And the spring that would have been on here is the older style, which is a bit bigger. The newer ones that you come across are going to be these little itty bitty tiny guys. So I got multiple of them just in case my other revolvers decide to fumble themselves and break as well. So I'm pulling every single one of them out. So yeah, pretty much that'll go in its little piece like so. And that's pretty much it. So me getting this apart, let's see if this will actually come out. Who knows? Maybe it won't. So we'll see if I got to fight this thing to the death and make it work. All right, there we go. That's it out. And chuck that. And pretty much just gotta slap this guy in there. Should go right in. And get some of the glue out. Whoever put this together, I guess they replaced the spring at one point. They put glue on it. Put that in place. All right, and this has to this is probably not the right tool. All right, that's kind of in place. Now I've just got to crimp this down. Let me get a different tool that will actually work for this. All right, so I did that off camera. It was a bit of a pain to get this in place because this spring really isn't meant to go on this hand. Well, I mean, anything can go anywhere if you try hard enough. So pretty much, yeah, after I pulled the old one out, opened this up a little bit, I put this in. I tried to, punch it down to get it to grab. It wasn't really grabbing, so I had to take a very, very tiny piece of wire and wedge it in there with it. Now it's in there pretty good, so not going to come out. So that works for me. So now that that is finally fixed, I can put this bad boy back together. Now that the gun is magically back together, we can test to see if changing the spring fixed the problem. So this is me pointing the gun downward, which it did work in this position. Okay, locked up pretty good. And this is where we had the problem when we pointed up. Oh, look at that. It worked again. So there we go. Back in action. So that's how you fix one of the more common problems on these, especially Colt black and powder, well, these Colt cap and ball revolvers. The Walker, the Dragoon, 1851s, 1860s, the Colt pockets and stuff like that, the 1849s, and all the other ones in between. So, and even I think on the, what do you call it? Even on the single action armies, I think. I'm not 100% sure actually. But yeah, that's pretty simple. The lock work on Colts haven't changed for a very, very long period of time. So, all right, I will see you guys in the next one. You do that silly YouTuber bullcrap with the whole likey, the whole commenty, subscribe, whatever, bell stuff. And you have a great one, and we will see you in the future. Bye-bye.